So to be honest, back in college in the beginning, I was not making any money. Then my family was going through something, and it was actually trading that helped me pay my way through college. So I never had any
Wow.
student loans at any point, which was really cool. And then I went through several years of not making money, to be honest with you, and those were the years where I learned the most. It's like, okay, well, whenever we have this sort of news come out this certain way, I'm expecting the market to come out this way.
Agreed.
Well, instead of doing that, it's better for you to react than to predict when it comes to trading.
So we've got JT today on today's interview, from reacting to predicting to 110 minutes on his strategy, how he made $6,000. Really, really good interview to learn and earn from. So I hope you guys enjoy it and let's get started with the interview. What's happening, bro? How's it going? Thank you for coming on.
What's up, man? Glad to be here.
If you want to introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, and anything you want to kind of share with the people, say away.
My name is JT. I'm the founder of Find Your Edge Trading. Started the business back in 2020. It was funny because I've been trading for over 18 years. Started trading when I
Wow.
was in 2005 with my custodial account. My grandmother had given me an account, so I was playing around with that. You know, not really doing too well, but nonetheless, it got me interested in the markets. And then started with forex. Ran up an account in college in forex. We had crazy leverage back in the day. We had like 400 to 1 leverage in the US. Now they don't really allow that anymore.
Yeah, changed it, right?
They
Regulations.
changed all that, but it was fun. And then I started trading options, and I traded options for a number of years. And then last year, in the springtime, got introduced to prop firms, and it was a new thing for me. And I decided to take a stab at it. And now, basically, I've been trading, whether it's futures, prop, forex, pretty much solely that now. So yeah.
Do you link any of your private capital or just only funded at the moment?
So now I have done only funded capital. For me
Oh,
myself,
nice.
I used to do a lot of my personal capital, but then I decided it's there's something psychologically going on with me at the moment where I need to maybe not feel that pressure as much. And so I decided to just go with funded capital for now and have strict risk parameters set, because I think the great thing about funded capital is you're given risk parameters to work off of, and when you're on your own, you have the ability to not go with those anymore, and you're one psychological meltdown away from blowing up
True.
an account. So.
Yeah, that's very true. And how much are you funded with? If you don't mind me asking. Are you funded just with us or multiple firms?
So, in total right now, let's see, 700K in total. Yep. So I got
Wow.
a 300K Apex. I got 100K over at Alpha, and then 200K over with you guys. What is that? That's 600. 600. Sorry, 600.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, and that's one of the things I always say. Like, the thing is, that's whether you want to see it 600 or 60K, because obviously the 10% drawdown, and after your refund, that's all capital free. That's why funding provides such a great opportunity. I was just having this conversation, so it's kind of fresh in my head. I just think funded in and in itself. Yes, there's obviously with the whole my forex fund situation that's going on there, but
Right.
which is crazy. But the thing is, in general, I just think it's such a good time right now, and we've got it's like a window to get funded, to get your payouts, to get your opportunity right now before they make it more expensive, make it harder, make it only for regulated people, like whatever. There's loads of things that could change, and it's so
I
cool.
I definitely think the industry will change, but no matter what, I think now is a great time to get in, to get your feet wet, and you know, ultimately having your own personal account and working towards that is a great goal for anyone to have. Um, I just like having that structure in place for me
Yeah,
personally, and it really helps me out. So that's just a personal thing, and for some of my students as well, it kind of has helped them gain discipline. So
yes,
that's
yes.
something that you need to learn over time, and this is a long game too. So if you think about if I have the 600K in funded capital and I'm making, let's say, I don't know, 2% a month. I mean, 3, 4% a month. I mean, the money is just crazy. So
Yeah,
if you
it's
can
it's
think
great.
about it and dial it down, which people want to go for the home runs, right? They want to say, "Oh, I can make this much money." From personal experience, I can tell you that's not going to work out. So,
Yeah, yeah, agreed, agreed, agreed. And even if not, then you end up going through more of an emotional roller coaster. If you just have a great funded account, you just want to get 1 or 2%. And that's what hedge funds do anyway. You can make more than enough money. It's funny because all of you guys who are successful in this realm all say the same thing. It's just one or
it,
two
it,
percent.
yeah, I know. It's just one of those things that even though myself, like that's my goal, still trying to not work on overdoing it too much. Like it's like, oh, I made 3%, 4%.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, then, hey, maybe I need to step back from this account and go work on another one. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that was great, man. And I think a lot of us guys who are trading and in that kind of realm all have the kind of same mindset. But before we go into this a little bit further, could you share a little bit about like your trading journey? Like, was you profitable off the bat, or was you losing the big side?
so to be honest, back in college in the beginning, I was not making any money. Then my family was going through something, and it was actually trading that helped me pay my way through college. So I never had any
Wow.
student loans at any point, which was really cool. And then I went through several years of not making money, to be honest with you, and those were the years where I learned the most. It was great for me to actually learn the market from because when I started, it was back in '05. So this was like pre
Crash.
financial crisis. Yeah.
Yeah.
So learning from the financial crisis, the global debt crisis, all those things, everything leading up to, you know, to COVID and things like that, those were all learning. That experience alone set me apart from the rest because when I say that is last year I had a lot of success. And the reason why I had a lot of success was during the, 2020, 2021, the market was just going straight up. And people looked at that as like, oh, the market's so easy. I can
This
just
is
buy
easy.
anything and it's just going to go straight up. And for me, as somebody that's been in the seat for a long time, it's like, man, this is getting a little annoying because, you know, we're used to this chop, back and forth. I remember I joke about this with one of my friends. It's like we used to look at ES, which is S&P futures, and then move like less than 5 points in a day, and you just be pulling your hair out just trying to get like maybe one handle, which is 4 ticks, and it's not like that now. Now it's much faster. But anyway,
Yeah, higher ATR.
so yeah, so now um, that experience really helped me take advantage of the down market, and had a good year last year, and this year's been all right. So it what I wanted to tell anybody is early on in your journey, even if it's profitable or not, it doesn't really matter as long as you're working on the process.
Mm,
We struggle to think about the money so much, and when you think about the process, that consistency and the discipline, the money will just come. That's
mm.
just the way that I've seen it over time.
And I think there's so much to learn from you because to be fair though, if you say that right too, one of the big things I think your biggest experience over or your biggest edge in trading is that you've sat through cycles, like the business
Hmm.
cycles, right? And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people often forget is when you come into trading, it's like, cool, you can be profitable in a year. I'm not going to take that away from you, great, but you haven't sat through multiple cycles, recession,
Hmm.
inflation, sideways markets for a whole year. Can you make like market maturity? Certain economic events like the macros just absolutely taking over complete all TA or TA doing everything over macros, right? There's just so many different things. So going on that, what do you think some of the like key lessons, because you sat through so many, you've got that experience and that edge, right? Find your edge. I'm going to use that word a lot in this interview now. But what would you say some of these top things that you've learned during these cycles would have been?
So I would say one of the most important things is to not get too comfortable trading one asset or one thing. Um,
Interesting.
sometimes, sometimes markets are really good for certain assets, and people like to focus on those assets. But then that asset and whatever the process is that you go about making those trades maybe doesn't react the way you would normally like it to, and not having a couple of other avenues for you to go about and find opportunities in the market is really important. To me, it's like if you keep going back to, I mean, I like to trade the Nasdaq a lot, but if I just keep going back to the Nasdaq day after day after day without looking anywhere else, sometimes I might find myself in a situation where I shouldn't be trading Nasdaq today. There's a whole on opportunity going on in the
Mm,
S&P or in gold or in euro dollar or something else. So being able to adjust to knowing that, hey, my asset is maybe not working so well from my process. Number one, number two is being able to, how do I say this? Recently, fundamentals, news, things like that, maybe aren't lining up with what you would expect the market to do. And it's kind of frustrating for me, somebody who sat in the seat for a long time as well. It's like, okay, well, whenever we have this sort of news come out this certain way, I'm expecting the market to come out this way.
agreed.
Well, instead of doing that, just learn how to, it's better for you to react than to predict when it comes to trading. Because if you're working on predicting,
I love that.
then all you're doing is you're no better than like the weatherman, right? Because how many times is the weatherman, right? Would you rather have a little bit of a sure thing, like, hey, we're getting ready to have a storm. It's like right there, and I'm in position for that storm. Well, I hate to use that analogy, but
Mm,
the way
it
that I, the
works.
way that I, but the way that I see it is like I would rather be in a trade that is I have a lot of things on my side as opposed to reacting. Like, for example, if I'm going to take a non-farm payroll trade, a CPI trade, the Fed, any of those times, yes, the market moves. Yes, there's volatility, but you have no idea ultimately how the market's going to react.
Yeah, you can't predict
And
that.
it, and if you're right, you set yourself up for failure in the future because you say, "Oh, I did that correctly." So
Yeah,
then you're going to go over.
overconfidence.
You're going to go and take that trade again, and even if you do that again, then you're going to be like, "Oh, yes, this is for sure." It's even like in the option game when like people play earnings trades and they buy options on earnings and they brag about that. Oh man, look, I made this 1,000% on Netflix calls. And I just say to myself, listen, man, all you did was gamble. Did you have the report beforehand? No. Well, then how would you have known? Like
Mm,
at the end of the day,
I'm a fan
through
of that.
those years through those years of experience, right? I've
Mm,
known that like, yeah, sure, I've had those wins, but over the long run, predicting does not work for me. What's
mm,
better off is me looking. I could maybe look for an opportunity, right? Say, okay, we're going to come up to here, but I have to react how the market reacts, right? The market's going to tell me what it wants to do after that,
mm,
and then I can react taking a trade. I'm
mm.
not going to initially get into a position without the market telling me that that's what it wants to do.
I love that. I fucking like big, big, big love that because predicting the market is also one of that you've just given me an aha moment as well. Because sometimes, well, back in the past, there's more of an aha moment to teach. But back in the past, one of my biggest downfalls in trading was overtrading. A lot of people have this overtrading, revenge trading, whatever. And the
Hmm.
overtrading actually stems like there's always roots to your roots to your roots, right? Because
Uh huh.
this gets really deep, guys, because with trading, you end up having levels and then you goes to your limiting beliefs. And then, like, there's so many deeper levels, and like your child, how you see things, and goes into trading. And predicting was actually, now you said that, has unlocked a new one because I predicted a direction of a market, and you guys will relate to this. You end up being stuck on that one idea. And then when you're
Exactly.
stuck on that one idea because you predict, and then you say you've identified the zone, right? You're just doing a simple supply demand, support resistance, whatever you want to call it. You've got this zone. You know prices hit this as a resistance and a support, so this price is reacted every single time. You then keep thinking that this is a level you can buy at, but then it absolutely melts past it, retest. Instead of buying, you should react and then sell off of the retest. That would be more reactive. So I really am a fan of what you just said there. React, don't predict. That's going to be a big lesson. Learn and earn today. So, guys, I hope you guys are enjoying the interview so far. If you do want to copy your challenge, link in the description below for 15% off. That's right, 15. It used to be 10, but now it's 15 just for you guys on YouTube. There is no time limit. You can buy an add-on for 90-10% profit split, balanced based drawdowns, and multiple options to find what suits you. So, link in the description. Let's get started on your funded journey, and let's get back to the video. I want to go back to the thing you said earlier about diversifying the ideas of like not just one pair, because I find that a little bit contradicting, but also it makes sense. So the question is like, so I guess my argument is you're saying, yes, I shouldn't be looking at the NASDAQ and potentially taking a trade you shouldn't even take anyway. And then you're saying, look at another asset. where does that stop? Because where we are at the moment in our trading with us lot, we either just have one asset or two now for me because I'm swing trading. But if you're day trading, for me, one of my rules is you have one pair, one setup, one time frame, one day. That's it. And if there's no trade, there's no trades. And yes, you're right. You could find another market. Shoulda, woulda, coulda is my answer. But also at the same time is like, well, then I'd rather just not trade, have a break, and then come back when the market matures, rather than trying to look at another asset and trying to force a setup from there. So, what would you kind of reply back to that?
So every week, Sunday, I set up my charts and levels the way that I look at the market.
Yeah.
And I will, based upon that, I will make a determination. Okay, and there are I think, let me just make sure, I think there's like 14 different things between currencies, gold, the indexes that I chart out. Okay, and I'm looking for particular setups, and I just set alerts on these things. Now, if there's not a market, personally, I like to trade the Nasdaq for a day trade, right?
Okay.
But if I'm
Yeah.
looking at a higher time frame on a weekly basis, let's say I'm looking at, I like to use a 110-minute chart. I know that's a little bit weird, but yeah, 110-minute
That is
chart.
what that is really random, but we'll go into that later. I'm gonna write that down right now. 110 minutes.
110-minute chart, and then using it off weekly levels to help me make trades on these pairs. And for me, seeing how I set an alert. Once that alert triggers, I wait to see the reaction from that point, and then I have my bias from there. So, but like you said, and I want to go back to that real quick, if you don't mind. You
Yep.
saying that bias, I cannot tell you how many times in the past as a trader where, if I tell myself the market should do X, I'm done. Okay. It doesn't matter because you are not being objective, right? The key is to be objective. If you're not objective, you're totally have this bias where it's like, okay, this is for sure supposed to
Yeah.
go down. No matter
Yeah.
what, this
I've
is
got
supposed to go
this.
down. And
Yeah.
you keep shorting it. You get stopped out and then you short again. It's like supposed to go down. It's like you start
So guilty of that.
ignoring everything that is going on. Everything.
Mm,
And then at the end of the day, you look back and you say, gosh, I'm a freaking idiot. But like,
yeah.
when you have, like, the blinders on, and you're just so focused on that bias, you can't
That's it.
objectively trade.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've all been there. and, and,
Same.
and and the funny thing, my friend, is like, everybody in this space, we all have our failures, right? none
Mm,
of us are none of us are perfect, and I
no
just
one's
want to put that out.
perfect.
I just want to put that out there. It's like, we all go through struggles, even no matter how much experience we have. So
Yeah, yeah. I say that's what defines us. And at the end of the day, your struggles. Everyone has their problems. Every family comes in different shapes and sizes because family also comes with many problems. And the thing is, these type of things and these types of hardships shape us. Because if you had no hardships, you wouldn't know what the good times are. If there was no rain, you wouldn't know what sun is. If you wasn't sad, you wouldn't know what happiness is. So it's very important to be able to understand both sides of the spectrum, but it can't stay on one. That's what I see. It's the yin and the yang, the balance. You versus you, me versus me, right? You can't just be always trying to chase happiness, always trying to chase sadness. It's a
of
balance,
course.
and that's it. And I love that. I think that's a really strong message, and love that. But if what's your thoughts on then going back to the one trade thing? On the
Hmm.
day trading, because now that makes a bit more sense, right? Because now your weekly levels and 110 minutes, which we'll touch on later on part two when he does the chart. I'm gonna pick on him for that, JT. Come on, mate. But it
Okay.
works. He's making money. But yeah, because obviously the weekly that makes sense because then you've got more time to you've got alerts because then as soon as the alerts in, you set that trade and then you react to it and take that trade and
Yeah.
the setup. That okay, cool. That makes sense. But then what's your take on a day trade? Because on day trading, you've only I don't know if you agree on this. So like to hear your thoughts, but you only have X amount of brain capacity in a day. I think you can only have so many
Yeah.
decisions or so many things.
Absolutely. So I want to hit on that because this is a big thing, and I teach this all the time. 1 to 3 trades a day maximum. If I ever do more than that third trade, I'm going to give it back
Yeah,
90% of the time. And that's just me. And I try to tell people that it's because we only have so much emotional capital in a day. So every time we put on a trade, that's an emotional decision. And we only have so many emotional decisions we can do. So yeah, primarily I'm looking for 1 to 3 trades a day. And I'm using a 15-minute chart usually and on a setup with a 2-minute confirmation.
Wow,
on my
that's a
chart.
low
So
time
that's
frame.
yeah, so that's what I like to do, and most of the trades with Nasdaq, I'm trying to get maybe 20 points, which is 20 to 40 points, usually around there. Sometimes we get more than that, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, it just depends on the setup, of course. But
Yeah.
I'm not trying to. How do I say this? Anytime get into too many trades during the day, it just doesn't end well. Doesn't end well,
Yeah.
and to add to that, so I have a set time frame that I trade
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's between 9:15 in the morning here, New York time, to 11 o'clock. So that is my time frame. So I have 100% of my attention on that time frame, and then I'm looking for my setups based upon what I see, and that's worked for me. Anytime I've tried to put on a quote unquote day trade outside of my time frame,
Give it
overall
back.
in the long run, I've given
Yeah.
it back.
I'm the
It
same.
hasn't worked out for me. So you got to
Totally
know
the
what you're
same.
good at. You got to know what time frame works for you. Um, for me, it's like whenever I can devote 100% of my time to focusing on the trade, that's when it matters, right?
Mm.
A lot of people like to day trade while they're working, while they're doing other things, and you're spinning plates essentially,
Yeah.
and yeah, the plates are going to fall.
Talking a
You
lot.
don't,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's no focus there. I love that. I love that. And yet again, you spoke facts again because it's like that own time frame is what I say as well within that one setup and that one time frame, and then that's it. If you're done, you're done. You're away for the day. So just moving on from this, I'd say with trading, has it changed your life? No.
So I would say that it has changed my life because it gives me another opportunity for I don't when I look at trading, it's like I look at it as I still don't look at it as my main thing. You know what I mean? Because I still
Yeah.
have another other businesses and things like that. So it's still kind of like that extra
Pocket money.
yeah, pocket money, right? Um,
That's how I see it.
but I love the hell out of it, to
Me
be
too.
honest with you. And I went to school for finance, and the reason why I went to school for finance was because I wanted to help other people, right? Because I
Ooh,
saw
come on,
because I
JT.
saw because I saw how the business was. I saw how it's set up and everything. Actually, one of my good friends, he has a wealth management company, so I'm very familiar with like how it works on the back end. And for me, it's like, you know what? Nobody's really there for you know the the average person trying to
Retail.
make it retail, right? And then
Mm,
here in the U.S., it's like you got the day trade, like you gotta have more than $25,000 in the account before you can
yeah.
day trade, or you gotta have you gotta cash. There's so many restrictions, right? The
Yeah.
market you gotta understand the game that you're playing basically, and
Yeah.
a lot of people don't understand that this is a skill. It takes time, and it's better off you know trying to get with a mentor. I'm not saying me, anybody, somebody that's got experience over time, so that you can really take that experience and try to jumpstart your journey.
Mm,
Because if you're just trying to figure this out on your own, it's going to take you a long time. And
yeah.
if you're not committed to that, it's not going to work out for you. One other tidbit, real quick. I think that traders that don't go through failure in the beginning actually are the ones that end up failing the most because they've never gone through failure and they think that their shit don't stink. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and at the end of the day, they run into a hardship, and the next thing you know, they're nowhere to be found.
Mm.
We saw a lot of that in the run up in the markets on Twitter, and then you see people kind of just
Starting off.
disappear.
Yeah, yeah. And I think
So,
a really, really weird spin-off of this is I actually see this for I think it speaks to me in volumes because I see this for my son, which is not in the sense that that's the case, but it's more the hardship. Because I went through so like you said, you spoke a minute ago, the hardship, but I believe the hardship have shaped who you are to make you strong, to make you who you are. You seem very calm, collective, very loving guy as well. But then I'm not trying to pull on heartstrings or make anyone think, but I'm sure you've gone through your fair share in order to understand that. And the reason I say that is because vice versa, a fisherman speaks to another fisherman. I've gone through my fair share. I laugh a lot, but I've been through a lot of pain. I've gone through a lot. I've had to go through a lot in order to understand that because life is short and you need to do that. And that's what I sometimes think is, how I feel for my son too, because I feel like because he will have such a great life to start off with, and I'm very, very, very concerned about when I'm not here, how can he handle that hardships? But at the same time, it's like, well, you know what, God will protect him, and he has to do his own walk. But I really, really do believe in what you said is when you have the hardships first, life is a little, or even trading, whatever it is, the hardship at the starts shape you faster. But the hardships later will be harder because you've had it easy. You're like, well, it was easy. That's what you've known. That's all you've ever known. So it makes it
Hmm.
really difficult, right? And that one speaks volume to me because I'm thinking about my son as like, I can't just throw him in hardship, like he's my son. You know what I mean? But I start thinking about that. And I think us as traders, you really, really, really touched on it. You're speaking some good facts today, JT. Come on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's keep this going by now going on to the funded trading side of things. So now obviously you're funded trading 600K capital, that's just amazing. And then you've done a good amount of withdrawals with us at My Funded FX. So what's your kind of plan? Like, I actually before you plan, how would you kind of promote this or even say this to other people like funded challenges is a good time to get involved? Because I see it as a risk free. If you've got the skill set, you can get your refund. It's a no brainer. But what do you see on funded challenges right now for people? What's your take?
Obviously, passing a challenge is not easy, right? Um, I think
Absolutely.
that you have to learn the skill set. And I'm not saying that you can't go right into trading trading a funding challenge from the
YOLO.
start, but but you got to understand, like, it's hard. It took me several months to figure out how to be successful, even myself, even with my experience funding challenges. Like I said, started back in spring of last year, and then I didn't get my first payout till the summer. But once I started to do that, then it started my wheels started to spin, and I was able to get some momentum, and I was really just every month just taking payouts after payouts after payouts, and it was really, it was a journey. But what I have to say is this: I think that doing funding challenges and being able to pass them, being able to get your refund, like you said. So then that's risk free. And then it's understanding what the opportunity you actually have, being humble with that opportunity, not going crazy with it, taking that, 1, 2, 3, 4% every payout, being content with that. And then with that process over time, next thing you know, you're going to look back and you're going to say, wow, what just happened? When I look back at it, I had one challenge now and I got that funded. Now I've got multiple challenges. I've got, 3, 4 accounts, which I'm alternating, and things are great. It's
Mm,
just the biggest thing to me is focusing, like I said, the process over the money. Everybody sees these big payouts. Oh wow, we've paid out this much, like, or this guy got this payout, this, that. None of that matters. Like at the end of the day, it's the process, because once you drill down the process, the money, you're not even going to think about it. Like, I wish whenever I was trading, always, that I could always set it up to where it just says the ticks I'm up, or I mean, you can on a lot of
yeah.
platforms, you
Now
can,
you can. Yeah.
but back in the day, we used to not be able to do that at all.
PR.
Now, yeah, you can do that, which I think is critical. Focusing on just the process. We get so caught up. Oh, I'm down like X number of dollars, or I'm up X number of dollars,
It's true.
and you just totally eliminate your edge. Is what I'm where I'm getting to is focus on the process, which delivers you an edge. When you forget your edge, when you eliminate your edge by cutting it too early, or not sticking to your rules, a number of things, psychological rules, that you may come across an issue where you're realizing you're making a mistake and not stepping back, not taking a break. I think that's one of the bigger problems is people don't take breaks, man. I mean, they just keep going day after day after day after day. I mean, would you go to the casino every day
Mm, yeah.
and go play whatever it may be? Overall, at the end of the day, you're going to run into hardships, and being able to, how do I say this? You want to make sure that your process is concrete, your plan, everything that you do in life, because if you don't have a plan, if your life isn't like together, if it's a mess, your trading's going to be a mess.
Yeah,
It's not going to be any different.
yeah, I love that. I love that, and I think you always say if you're in a good state, you'll trade in a good state. If you're in a bad state, you'll trade in a bad state. So you have to understand yourself internally. And the break thing you said again, you're speaking to me all day today, JT. This was the biggest lesson I learned from the hedge fund trader. And it's the thing is, breaks always help you reset. Breaks are very important, and you need time away from the market because people want to try and trade 365 days of the year. And the truth and the reality is, you need to have breaks. You have breaks after your winning streak, breaks after your losing streak, because breaks help you reset from your overconfidence, and breaks also help you reset and understand you've got this. Trading is good. You're fine. You can do what you're good if you've got the edge and all that kind of stuff, like you said, and all the fundamentals you've mentioned in today's video. So then, finalizing on this first section of this interview is to talk about my funded FX. How has your journey been with us so far, and would you recommend it? Uh,
So I think my funded FX has been one of the best platforms that I've been across. Number one reason is their support. They've always been there if I've had a question or anything like that, and that goes volumes in this industry. There's a lot of prop firms that are just their service is garbage, man. I don't know
yeah,
any other word to
yeah,
say, but it's garbage. But I love that they have many different types of plans that you can choose from. And I think, my personal favorite is Two Step Pro. I think that when they came
me
out
too.
with that, that was my favorite plan. And I, one of my accounts is on that. And I think that's the best one that they got. Um, I've really seen them grow, man. It's crazy because, like I said, started trading prop last year and then seeing them come out of the shadows. And
Yeah,
next thing you know, they're in definitely in the top five, I'm sure, if not higher than that. So
yeah,
I would say that my funded FX is definitely one of the top firms right now. And like I said, service matters so much in this industry that you want to have that. So
that's it.
I don't know
Just gotta apply.
I don't want to overlook that. So
Yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So what we're
yes,
going to
sir.
do is now go on to the next section or the next video for you guys, where JT is actually going to break down some of his trades on how he's made his money and his payouts from there. So guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned and go and check out part 2, where JT walks us through his charts, breaking down his very interesting strategy for sure on how he identifies key levels and where he looks to take his trades, and an overall breakdown in the markets and how he secured over $6,000 in his first payout. So remember to like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video. Champ out. Peace.